So we met in college, our first day as freshmen, and kind of hit it off as friends and developed that friendship over the years in college. And then a year after college, got married. A year after that, we started having kids. We had 6 kids pretty quickly. We worked at a Christian camp for almost 10 years. And then, and there Michele ran the kitchen, feeding 300 kids a day. And then I kind of oversaw the campus. And then after that, I got into general contracting. And so then we moved down to the city in Los Angeles. After several years doing that, we moved out to Pagosa Springs, Colorado. We brought our 6 kids out. They were young. We built this house, and my kids all helped build the house. And then we started doing construction, and that went okay for a while. And then the housing crash hit, so it didn't go okay. And then we had to find something else to do. And so Michele was driving to take one of our kids to college, our middle son, Sawyer, and heard an ad for Visiting Angels on the radio. And so she called me and she said, "You have to call Visiting Angels for Miss Ada," who was our neighbor. And I've told this story many times because she was a pretty dear lady. Miss Ada was a neighbor who was developing dementia. She was a church friend of ours, and we saw it, but we didn't really know what that was. We just knew it was getting embarrassing for her. So Michele started checking on her and making sure, and her husband had recently died, and so she was alone. Well, over many months that developed, and it got very severe. She almost burned her house down. Like, it was bad. And so that's when Michele heard this ad. Well, there was no Visiting Angels. There was no home care services in Pagosa. And so she got all disappointed that we couldn't find someone to relieve us for helping Miss Ada, because her family wasn't really responding. They all lived out of town. And we just didn't know if we could keep doing more and more and more for her. So then about 10 minutes later, Michele's still driving somewhere in Oklahoma, and she calls back and she says, "Do you think we could be Visiting Angels or something like that?" Because I was completely dead in the water with construction, just nothing happening. I mean, I was fixing roofs or something, I don't know, something very minor. And so we did our homework, and we ended up buying the Visiting Angels franchise. And that was our last savings. So we took a big risk, and we knew we had to go all out because we wouldn't have another chance. So we did. And that's kind of how the Visiting Angels story started. I don't think there was a vision. We just wanted to help a few people, right?
Yeah.
But to help people, yeah. We have 6 children and now 15 grandchildren, and we're just loving being grandparents. We all did everything. Now, she really did the part where she did client assessments. She did most of the interviewing for caregivers and employees.
She was HR.
Yep.
Because there was none.
She trained all the employees, and she really did a lot in that effort. I think 17. She said, so her physical issues, well, she's had a few nutritional issues that started a cycle of problems. But the real issue that you see here is called MSA, multiple system atrophy, not to be confused with MS. MSA is similar to ALS in that kind of all of her functional muscle systems are shutting down. So today she's unable to walk. She can bear weight, but she really can't shuffle around. She's having a real hard time speaking. That's one of the big things that she's losing. Swallowing is another thing she's losing the ability to do, although she's handling it okay today still. So she has most of the use of her left hand and arm, but not too much on her right.
I'm
60.
60, and it's like, if you were 45, if you're like 60, I think you have a say. I said, I am 60, not 45.
This was her conversation with our neurologist who was trying to diagnose her.
Uh-huh.
And he thought, well, if you weren't so young, then I would think it's MSA.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you were 60. She says, I am 60. He said, you're the healthiest sick person I've ever taken care of.
I
Sure.
just
I'm
can't give up anymore.
I think she really felt like she wasn't contributing to the household like she wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And so at first, you know, we had a caregiver, house cleaner, really just coming to help with the housework, right?
Yeah.
And then that kind of evolved, like, we really need him to help Michelle too. So it's evolved more into personal care. But at first it was just her not wanting to let me down maybe, let down the household, let it get ahead of her. And she was just struggling
Yeah.
to keep up, right?
And it's different because I have to have help. It was not at first. I just wanted help.
It was hard at first because she just wanted help, but she could kind of do it. But now she has to have help because she cannot do it. She can't get out of the chair. She can't answer the phone.
I wanted to give up the class. And I could help me give up.
And I think it would seem like we, of all people, would be so open and easy to do that. But I think we went through the same feelings that other people would. Because now we have people in our home all day invading our privacy and but it's true, you want your time at home, that's your retreat. And it is hard to just let people or have to have people in your house all day.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I want to give up. I think it's amazing.
It's amazing how much they help us keep up.
Oh.
Yeah, because when, like, obviously we have excellent caregivers. And so they usually do surprise us with how much they keep up.
Mm-hmm.
And taking care of things sometimes that we didn't think about.
Told them about when we went to the
So we had a different experience when we went traveling to her sister's house in Missouri. We contacted the visiting angels there, and we knew those owners quite well, and just asked, like, could you set aside some caregivers for the nighttime? Because I went to a conference, and so the family helped during the day, but at night we just wanted someone there. And we had 3 different caregivers, and that was fine. But 2 of the 3, I'll just say that they were awful. And one of them actually just said, I can't do this, I have to leave. I'm like, well, you can't leave now. I mean, she's going to bed and we have to have this help. And there was a funny situation. My daughter Kaylee was with us on the trip, and when this lady said, I can't do this, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to do a transfer. I'm like, well, that's quite a basic thing. Could you call your supervisor and see what to do about it? Oh, I don't know their phone number. My daughter Kaylee looked at her and said, the phone number is on your shirt. Yeah, the name and phone number is on your shirt. Surely you can call somebody. And it was pretty bad. They left us in a lurch, and they never called us afterwards to see how it went. And it was very awkward. One that says, I don't know what I'm doing. When they arrive at the job.
Oh, touch me.
And won't touch her. Like, the other one wouldn't touch her. She's like, I'm not comfortable touching her.
Wow.
Yeah.
My good part is I love like Angie said, Michele, you trained me. And I remember you saying to each client like a queen. I know we get to treat you like a queen.
Oh,
Straighten doors is something silly. I go.
Light a candle. So she'll pop up and do something silly, like straighten pillows or light a candle.
They know to do safe transfers
Safe transfers.
Safe transfers?
Yeah.
and anticipate needs
And anticipate her needs.
Mm.
and
Especially as she's becoming less vocal.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of have to know what she needs next.
yeah, and know what to do.
Yeah, know what to do.
Take initiative.
Take initiative. That was one thing she always trained on, was taking initiative. There's so many things that caregivers do in our house. And I really like the surprises, I guess, but you have to have all the regular stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
But when all my shirts are stacked up and organized, like, who did this? It's really nice that even your closets are seen to.
Mm-hmm.
Some things I've been surprised about is families do struggle with some issues of caregiving and the limitations that we have, or even the structure we have. And it's not like right or wrong all the time. It's just, how do we get through this? When a caregiver has to change their schedule for normal reasons, who do they talk to? They have to check with us, kind of, but they're supposed to do it with their scheduler. And then if the scheduler does it, but then doesn't tell me, or for some reason it's canceled and we didn't get notice till the last minute, my schedule is all out of whack for my work and my day.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is tricky. Like you really do need those lines of communication, and they have to work. Because there's like a second and third tier consequence
Right. Yeah.
when the communication doesn't get done.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing is Michelle's symptoms are developing. So one day she might be able to organize her meds, but then the next week she can't. And so then what do? Well, we have to arrange all that and change the care plan. And you have to go through that. You have to do the next thing when it arises.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the same with a lot of clients at age. Their symptoms will deteriorate, and you'll have to adjust your care. You just have to make the changes.
I'll increase.
They'll increase, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dinner
Sure.
maid.
But
Dinner maid.
yep, I get dinner made
Dinner
sometimes.
made. Mm-hmm.
I get great leftovers because they make a big old casserole for a week.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't have to think about it.
And like a companion
A
Companionship.
companion.
is huge.
At this point, Michelle can't be left alone.
Mm-hmm.
Up until a couple months ago, maybe, we could leave her for a few hours at a time and she could grab her phone or reach for things that she needed. But that's changed now, so she can't be alone really at all. And so now she really relies on somebody here all the time.
My careers in Joplin needed more training and talking so much.
Yeah, one of them wanted to tell us all about
She was
aliens
trying to
and
kill at night. Like, what, she's gonna kill me.
she thought she was going to kill her. She was talking about aliens and
doing what God told her.
yeah, like God told her to do this and that, and it's like, well, can you just take care of me and be nice? Caregivers that have confidence but aren't, I'd say, arrogant about it, but just have confidence that they can do the job,
Mm-hmm.
that they do have some skills. That's what I think really comes across to the recipient.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they act nervous or scared or say, I'm not comfortable touching you, or
Mhm.
I don't know how to do a transfer, I'm not very good at transfers, even if you aren't 100% confident, but you've been trained and you've done it, it wouldn't be appropriate to let her know I'm not very comfortable doing transfers, because that's a very potentially dangerous situation. You have to do it, and you have to do it right.
Someone knows my feelings, and I'm scared too.
She's fallen many times, and she's scared of falling. And she's not even frail in that sense, like an older person would definitely have
Right.
life and death if she fell. But Michelle does not like to fall. I do think that would be quite stressful to just have it all rest on my shoulders. I could do it, I think, like I would have to, but I think it would be very stressful and maybe even to my health. It would be stressful for our family with me completely absorbed with Michelle and not being able to give any of myself to my many grandkids and my children. Of course, my business, I would have to just walk away. Businesses, I would have to pretty much give up everything.
I know it was hard for me. So it's good to ask myself. It's like,
Yeah, she asked for help just for my sake,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that it would be a lot for me. So I think the realistic answer would be I would quit work altogether.
Mm-hmm.
I'd get my two daughters that live in town to give me time to go shopping or something when I needed to. And I would have to adjust to be at home as a caregiver 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Yeah, her moving out of the house just would not work.
Mm-hmm.
I would not want to.
Yeah.
I am supposed to stay home.
I think just about I don't know if this is the right answer, but just about anybody can stay at home. It's just how do you structure that so that it can work. I
Right.
think for some people, it's not possible. Like if I had to work to put groceries on the table,
Mm-hmm.
we have enough savings now that that's not the case, so I could quit work. But if you had to work, very common, you could not be the caregiver all day and all night.
Right.
And you would have to have somebody. Another reason you would move to a facility is it would be too expensive if you had to work and had to pay a caregiver. And a facility is cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to give up. I mean, in that case, it's almost like a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
My wife left
Mm-hmm.
because I had to keep working to pay for her care
Right.
or for her new residence,
Mm-hmm.
so they could care for her.
Mhm.
Gosh, I can't even imagine how disruptive that would be to our lives together. Some of this development in her downfall and ability and all is, it's hard to adjust all the time for me. Like, oh, now she can't do that. Now I have to pick that up, or
Mm-hmm.
that's hard to adjust. And you kind of wish you could just give it to somebody else. Like if she were living somewhere and they just took care of her all the time, you wouldn't have to think about it. I mean, maybe a little bit here and there, but that's a little harder. But we've always kind of been more self-sufficient in that way. I mean, we homeschooled our kids, we're self-employed.
Mm-hmm.
We've kind of always had to figure things out.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I have peace of mind that when I leave and the caregiver's here, I have no worries. Sometimes even I feel like they can do better than me because she's a true giver in that she didn't do it to get praise and accolades.
Mm-hmm.
She did it because she knows it's lovely. And now she's receiving it because she has to have it. And so she can kind of accept it humbly, knowing it's kind of, I don't want to say her turn, but this is how life works. Sometimes you give. When you can, you do. And sometimes you have to receive, and when you have to, you receive graciously.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote them
Very grateful.
Mm-hmm.
down.
Yeah.
She's very grateful.
I think it's wrong. Like it's just
It's not easy. Some days she feels very useless. And that's the hardest thing when she does feel like that. She's gotten through some of that, just accepting her situation.
Mm-hmm.
but what I don't know. I thought sometimes joy is I don't know. I accepted it, and I just my face watching. I'm like,
Peace, watching Hallmark.
I love that.
son,
What?
I am like full time.
She has her list all done. She is prepared to pass. She has written all of her letters to all of her family. They're tucked away in our safe. She has written the agenda or whatever for her memorial service, her letter to everybody for the memorial service. She has made little booklets for hundreds of people to give away at her service. We gave some very big gifts to our kids at Christmas of kind of legacy gifts to, I don't mean big like money, I just mean from her. But there's crates of books that she just loves and wanted all her grandkids to have. So all the grandkids got all her favorite books. And that she just felt like that's the way she could leave a real character legacy to her grandkids. I mean, in our age, we were kind of hoping this would be our season to start doing stuff together, empty nesters and all that. But So we kind of crammed in a couple trips this summer, knowing it might be the last opportunity. And with our family, one of them was all our family, the other was just us two.
Oh.
And now we're just hoping she can visit her family, her sister and mother primarily, sisters and mother, like every month. We go once, they come the other month, just to make sure we don't regret time with them, not
That's
spending
good.
time with them.
Just animal mouse. I can't sleep like. It's like just every day, hours, every day, and everything they do matters. And it all adds up to keeping me home.
Keeps her at home, which is really important to Michelle, since I don't want to call her a homebody, but she loves home. And she doesn't mind being at home all day. She doesn't care to get out. Work was never her big thing. She likes being at home. She likes taking care of her home. She likes having people in her home, entertaining in her home. And she gets to still do that. I'm not so good at entertaining and keeping the home. It would really be a change for me to have to change my whole life to just become the homemaker and maintain it at the standard she did. That's what caregivers do for me. They maintain her standard of our household, which I think is more important than I admit usually, because I appreciate it. It's just always done.
I'm not ever go to the closet door.
I never close the closet door. I do that on purpose.
Just for me. I know.
It's just one thing I can do to bother you.
No.
Yeah.
And that's like, no, what's important to me. I just come in and I think
Yeah.
just me.
She has a lot of little things she
Thanks.
likes in her routine, not just making her meals, but light the little scented candle that should be lit every day. And I don't know why, but that is important to her. And many other little things that she just likes done every day to keep the house interesting and warm, inviting,
And cozy.
and cozy. And for me, I think caregivers just make it so my life can, I do think if I had to absorb that stress of full-time caregiving, it would have a detrimental effect on my life. Like it would shorten my life. I think bottom line, that stress would shorten my life. Make it a lot less happy. I feel like I can help people, like in my businesses, with my kids. But if I had this stress, I would be completely tunnel vision on one thing that's not like my speciality or anything. It's just kind of a duty I have to do, which I want to do for my wife, but so much of it can be done by somebody else. And so taking that stress off of me so that when I am with her, I can enjoy the relationship. You know, yeah, I do some stuff and it's kind of annoying at 2 a.m. I really like to sleep, but it's not, I'm trying not to let it be too much so that it robs me of my marriage.
So you can be a husband and not just a caregiver.
Yeah.
The whole day.
Yeah, because it could feel like I know when I'm on the verge of, okay, I'm just running around, never stopping because she has to have every minute of my attention. And like, I can't do anything for myself, much less for anybody else. And when it's 20, like on Sundays, like I'm the only one here Sunday, Saturday evening through Monday morning. And after that whole stint, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I'm getting a caregiver here Monday morning, because there's times where I go 2 or 3 or 4 days in a row for an occasion, and I do it. But if I had to do it every day of the year, I don't think I would do very well.
Right.
Yeah, I think drain me to the point of diminishing my actual life. I don't know how else to say it, but
No, it makes sense.
especially if it was long term. Fortunately for Michelle, or unfortunately, this isn't a real long term illness. It has a expiration date, right?
Yeah.
A short term.
So, when you are well, so going, and then you need help.
Yeah. Not often you have a home care company and then need home care.
It really matters.
It really.
It really matters, and it's a simple thing. And so it's hard to really make it profound when you talk about it. But it's profound. It's a simple, profound service, gift.
Thank you.